I made a terrible mistake. After a small argument over coffee, I told my husband to leave. At the time, I convinced myself I needed space to clear my head. But now that he's gone, I feel like I shattered something delicate between us. I'm terrified that I pushed him away for good and have no idea how to make him feel safe with me again. We're newly married and genuinely happy. Until this. I'm 38, he's 33, and lately he's been struggling with painful kidney stones. Just last night, we were at the hospital for what we hope will be the final procedure. Everything went smoothly, and earlier today we left the hospital feeling lighthearted. On the way home, we stopped to grab coffee and donuts as a treat. As we got out of the car, I set the coffee on the roof while I reached for our overnight bag. One of the paper cups collapsed and spilled hot coffee all over my hands and legs. Startled and hurting, I turned toward him. He was standing right there, and he said in a teasing tone, "What happened, little friend?" That's a phrase we've always used playfully when one of us messes something up. But in that moment, with the pain and exhaustion, I didn't find it funny. It felt like he was mocking me. Frustrated, I kicked the cup that had fallen under the car, not really thinking. The remaining coffee splashed onto the car door and a little inside the car. Since the door was still open, it all happened in seconds. He got upset about the mess, and I said I didn't care about the car. Then he grabbed another coffee cup from the roof and hurled it hard toward the sidewalk. I froze. The gesture felt aggressive, not something I've ever seen from him. It scared me, not because I believed he'd hurt me, but because it felt like he was aiming his frustration toward me. I picked up the cups and lids in silence and went inside to unpack. After that, I grabbed my laptop and phone and left the house. I found a nearby cafe and sat down for breakfast, trying to process what just happened. I sent him a message explaining what I felt and suggesting maybe he should leave for a few days, or that I would, if he preferred. I truly thought I needed time to think. He agreed to go. I returned home about an hour later, and we talked before he left. During our conversation, I realized his reaction wasn't rooted in anger at me. His hand had gone numb from the floor, and the coffee cup slipped out of frustration and loss of control, not violence. I told him it was a mistake to ask him to leave and asked him to stay. He chose to leave anyway. Since then, I've reached out again, apologizing and asking him to come back. He still asked for a few days away. I understand now. He feels like I kicked him out during a vulnerable moment, when he was still healing. We live in my apartment, and even though I never said it was my place, I can understand how he might feel disposable, that I used my position to push him out, just like others have done to him in the past. I feel awful about everything. It was a storm of pain, fear, exhaustion, and unresolved thoughts. The night before, his mother told me about her toxic relationship with his father, years of psychological abuse. I guess that stuck in my head, and when the coffee incident happened, I let that fear take over instead of seeing my husband for who he truly is, a kind, gentle man who has never once made me feel unsafe. Yes, my reaction was extreme and unfair. Yes, I asked for space in the worst way possible. I should have supported him instead of turning the situation into something it wasn't. We both kept our voices calm. There was no shouting or name-calling, but the emotional damage was done, and that's on me. In hindsight, I can see how both our actions could be seen as aggressive. I kicked a coffee cup and splashed the car. He threw another cup, but I reacted as though only his action mattered. I didn't acknowledge my part in escalating things. People online told me the harsh truth. Some said I made him feel unsafe and homeless over nothing, and honestly, they're right. He had just come out of a medical procedure. He needed comfort, and instead, I made him question his place in our home and in our marriage. I own the apartment, and he's never wanted to be on the lease, even though I've offered, but that's not the issue. The issue is trust, and I broke it. Being newly married should mean leaning on each other, not pushing each other away when things get hard. I showed him that if we fight, his presence here isn't guaranteed. That's a deep wound, and one I'll have to work hard to heal. After reading through everyone's responses, I sat down and wrote him a letter. I told him I understood if he wanted to end our relationship, but I asked for one thing, a conversation. I told him how deeply sorry I was. No excuses, just regret. I took a photo of the letter and sent it to him. He came home a few hours later. We talked about everything. I won't go into all the details, but we reached an understanding. He's staying. We know there's work to do, and we're both willing to do it. For those who advised separation or called out my actions harshly, thank you. It hurt to hear, but it also forced me to take responsibility and not sugarcoat anything. Our marriage is worth saving, and he still sees that, even after what happened, I made a painful mistake, and I'm lucky that he's willing to forgive and rebuild with me.